I have tried to film this like 4 times. You just want it to feel so natural, and I feel like it's so forced. But let's just let it go. We're starting a BookTube channel. It's raining outside. You've got the ambiance. Baby, just go with it. Hi everybody, it's Lainey Joy. Welcome to the first video on my channel that isn't a concert video. It is currently July of 2020. I am 8 books behind my reading goal on Goodreads, and my big goal for the year is to get through all of the books on this shelf behind me, and outside of my room is a taller bookshelf with books that are TBR. This is the year I am trying to get through those books and either keep them, send them to friends that I think will really enjoy them, or donate them. The qualifications for me keeping a book, which are the books we're going to be talking about today, are that they have inspired my writing in some one way or another, that I'm not quite ready to donate them and part with them, but I don't know if I'll read it again, but I really enjoyed it, or it was just like I haven't found the right person to give it to yet, but I think the right person will come around for each of these books. Along with reading through all of the books on the shelves, it's also the year that I'm trying to be more sustainable, so no buying books that I'm not going to read or hold off on reading. Cute. Start with this stack. Okay. Tight. Well, I guess they don't need to be in a stack. We're gonna kick this one off with Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. I'm holding on to this book mostly for writing influence. I love the perspective switch between Nick and Nora. I also love that both of the authors take a character of the book. I think it's really cool when books do that, and you see that a lot in YA. I love Nick and Nora as characters. I think that they're both very well thought out. They're both very simple, but they're both very complex. They're both people that you would just like run into on the street and wouldn't think twice about it, but they go on this whole adventure. And I think that this book really shows like the simplicity in relationships and how you don't know what people are going through. I don't remember a whole lot about the movie, but I remember really enjoying the movie. Really enjoyed the book. This one's staying in my house. Let's move to Lauren Graham's Talking as Fast as I Can. There are a couple of things that you should know about me. Maybe someday we'll make a getting ready to know me. Maybe you have to prepare. Maybe someday we will have a get to know me YouTube video. But one of the things to note is that Gilmore Girls is probably my favorite show. I didn't jump on until it was put up on Netflix. I was part of like that second wave of fans. She's brilliant. It's her autobiography. It's her autobiography of how she got started in New York. It's her autobiography of going through Gilmore Girls and going through parenthood. It came out around the time of the revival, Gilmore Girls: A Year in the Life. It's absolutely worth reading. Watch interviews with her. She's brilliant. She's brilliant. I've got 2 poetry books. The first one I have is Everywhere West by Chris Green. Chris Green was one of my professors at school, and this book is brilliant. A lot of the topics revolve around his daughters and family and death, and the title poem Everywhere West has a video on his website. If I remember, I'm about to sound like a real YouTuber. Are you ready? If I remember, I'll link it in the description box down below. For all poetry reading, if you're going to read a poetry book, I recommend sitting and reading it out loud. I think when you read it out loud, it causes you to slow down and really catch the meaning of things. Everywhere West by Chris Green. Number 2 is Charles Wright's Caribou, Poet Laureate of the United States, which was once young Lainey's aspiration, and now she's like, oh, thank you. If you are going to be reading poetry, any poetry recommended on this channel, slow down and read it out loud. Any poetry that you like to read, slow down and read it out loud. And you hear some of these words out loud, I think that it really resonates. I think that it really strikes different nerves. How do we want to take these? Do you want to take these by genre? Should I just grab them from the heap? Let's just keep going from the heap. As you can see, the program I purchased for $1 at Half Price Books, I already read this series, but I do not own this series, and the series is great. I don't know how many books are in the series. I am not caught up with the program series. All of the books in the program series take place in the same universe. And in this universe, teen suicide is at an all-time high. So when teenagers are feeling negative feelings, they are sent through the program where they are essentially just reset and their memories are taken away. That's like, in a nutshell. Every 2 books in the series takes different characters in a different strain of the universe. James goes through the program. Sloane starts to get sad because James doesn't remember her. The following 2 books, which would be books 3 and 4 in the series, are from the perspective of a girl that lives in the universe. She becomes their child that they lost to suicide, so the parents can have like extra time to grieve their child. I know for a fact there are at least 6 books on the series, and it is worth a read. Okay, I don't have the whole series here. I think I have book 1, but I've lent it out. Book 2, I did the audiobook or the ebook, and book 3 I have is the We'll Always Have Summer in the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Han. Jenny Han wrote, why am I blanking? To All the Boys I Loved Before. I have the first book. The first book's on like my currently reading shelf, which I am not actually currently reading. It had good intentions. It was a good intention shelf. It's just like a nice breezy YA romance. Every summer, Belly, her brother, and her mom go to a lake house that is owned by Belly's mom's best friend. And Belly's mom's best friend has 2 sons, Conrad and Jeremiah. There is kind of like a back and forth romance the whole time between Conrad and Jeremiah. Conrad and Jeremiah don't fall in love, they're brothers. There's kind of this back and forth romance with Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah. And there's a death, I think, before the 3rd book starts. It's very sad. It's very tender. They're really great, and they're quick reads. I really like Jenny Han. I am very much looking forward to getting into the To All the Boys I Loved Before series because I loved the Netflix movies. I read a lot of YA. Welcome. The next one was actually gifted to me by my mom, who got it for free at her work. A branch of her work is mentioned in this book, so because it was mentioned, they got free copies of the book, and I got to read it. It was pretty cute, and that's the reason this one's on my shelf, is because it was gifted to me with some thought. Like, there's mention of my mom's work in here. Basically, in this one, you're following Maya. Maya has an internship at MIT. Maya's boyfriend, Whit, breaks up with her, and she's trying to figure out if there is a way that she can get him back. Is essentially through science is the premise of the book. It seems like it's a little bit of a stretch, like, no girl, you can't win a boy back with science. What am I about to read? But like, it's done very naturally. It's done in a very cute way. So, did I even tell you the title? Who am I? What kind of booktube? This is called Chemistry Lessons, and it's by Meredith Goldstein. I haven't said any authors unless I knew them off the top of my head. So, I'm going to talk more about these in the audiobooks because I listened to both of these. You and Hidden Bodies by Caroline Kepnes Everdeen, the girl on fire. It's not what anybody sounds like in that movie. If you have seen the show on Netflix, I would still give the books a read. The first one stays pretty true. I don't have a cover on this one. I used to work at a bookstore, and if a book like wasn't doing well, they were getting sent back, we would strip the covers off and then we could take them home. That's how I got this one. The first one is pretty true to the show. Jill Goldberg works at a bookstore, sees a cute woman, takes her credit card information, starts stalking her. Second one, Joe moves to Florida, and it's moved to Florida. Is he in Florida in the first one? Now he's heading west to Los Angeles. Where was he on the first one? New York. Why did I think he was in Florida? So he moves to Los Angeles in this one. I absolutely love Joe's voice. I love that this is all told from, like, in a second perspective. This one differs from the second season a lot more. So I would say that this one is also absolutely worth a read. I took a YA fiction class at my university taught by Erica Sanchez, who wrote I'm Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. The next 2 are books I had to read for that class, and this one is called Juliet Takes a Breath. I cannot rave about this book enough. It is a queer YA fiction book about Juliet, and you're gonna love Juliet. You're just gonna love Juliet. Throughout this entire book, you're just rooting for Juliet. You don't want anything freaking bad to happen to her. She lives in New York. She goes to Portland because she gets an internship with this author that she just loves. And it's not a romance. It's absolutely fiction. Juliet's really just trying to find herself. Recommended. Highly recommended. Gabrielle Rivera is an absolute prize. I have not read any other books by this author, but Monday's Not Coming struck a chord with me. Monday's Not Coming is loosely based off of the young African-American girls that were going missing around the DC area. It's about this main girl. She's an 8th grader, and her best friend Monday has gone missing. Nobody else knows where Monday is. Everyone just kind of brushes off, like, they checked in at her house, and her mom said she's fine, and I went to the right headspace with this. Because I don't have anything else to say about it. It has me so excited to read Tiffany D. Jackson's other book. It's beautiful. It's heartbreaking. It's a good one. I love horror films. We can talk about that at some point too, I guess. It's a BookTube. We can talk about horror films. This is The Troop by I almost said Cutter. I like to save scary books for Halloween time. Like, I've got some Stephen King to read, but I'm like, October's coming. Monday's not coming, but October's coming. The Troop is about a group of Boy Scouts that are camping on an island I believe they're in Canada, and their scoutmaster lets a man in who says he's very hungry, and the man that he lets in has a parasite. It's very, very good. I don't know if Nick Cutter has any other books out, but if he does, I would read them. It's a little Lord of the Flies-y. I didn't read Lord of the Flies, so I can't really talk, but from what I know about Lord of the Flies, I think they're a little bit reminiscent of each other. Last two have probably been my favorite books that I've read for different reasons. I know that there is controversy around the author of this book. I know that a lot of people dislike the author of this book, but I love this book. In my top 2 favorite books I've read recently, Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham is at the top. It's in second place. I was recommended Girls last year by an ex-coworker, and I fell in love with the show. While I was watching the show, which I still need to watch season 6, but Prime wants me to pay for it, and I said, I read Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham. There are a lot of parts of this book that have really resonated with me, especially growing up feeling like a little bit out of step and feeling like a late bloomer and feeling just a little bit behind everybody else all the time, and like you don't quite know how to catch up, and then if you can catch up, you don't know where to go when you are caught up. If I could personally reach out and thank Lena Dunham for giving me that, like, welcome to, yeah, you can be who you are. Like, there's nothing, don't jump into any kind of lines or any kind of stereotypes. Just be the person that you are. And even if you're a little bit out of step, you're not by yourself. It's quick-witted. It gets deep. It's overall just a wonderful book. I think Lena Dunham is incredible. I think she's incredible. At the top of my list is a book that I read for one of my other classes this year that I didn't think I would like as much as I did, and it's called A Visit from the Coon Squad by Jennifer Egan. This book is in my collection still because of its inspiration in my writing. You meet this girl, Sasha, and Sasha's a klepto, and she works at a recording studio. And you meet her boss. I think her boss is Benny. Chapter 2, I think Benny takes it, and it's like a different time period, but Benny talks in first person, and you meet this whole other friend group that Benny has. And then in chapter 3, it's one of the friends from the friend group, and then you get their whole story. In chapter 4 is one of the characters from the chapter 3. This one's staying for plot reasons, for character development reasons, and for writing reasons. In the past 7 months, this has been the book that has sat the best with me, and a book that I have somebody that I would like to send it to, provided that the person hasn't read it yet, so this may soon be departing from my bookshelf, but it was a wonderful read nonetheless. So those are the books that are going to be staying on my bookshelf that I am keeping, that I'm hanging on to, because they have touched me in one way or another, and I really, really, really thoroughly enjoyed every one of them. I will leave my Goodreads account along with my Bookstagram down in the description box. It has been a slice, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.